Morning, Charlie.
Hello, Bryce. How you doing?
Good.
Good, good, good. I think we'll get started now. So, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Welcome to the US Technology VIP Vibe Coding webinar. My name's Charles Harris, and I am part of the investment team here at Freedom Asset Management, based in Abu Dhabi. It's my pleasure to introduce Bryce Smith. From the investment team at 10,000 Days Capital Management, joining us from Las Cruces, New Mexico. I'm sure that everyone on this call knows that 10,000 Days are the investment advisors to our US Technology VIP Fund, which we launched with great success this year. The US Tech Fund reached a milestone a couple of weeks ago at $20 million, and we are very happily welcoming new investors regularly. Many of you on this call will have met Bryce in person, but for those of you who have not, Bryce is very much Cody's spare brain and is an avid user of many of the technologies that we invest in. So today we thought it would be interesting to share with you a gentle deep dive into the art of vibe coding, and there's no better guide than Bryce himself. We're expecting this presentation to last between 20 to 25 minutes, followed by a short Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get through as many questions as possible. So without further ado, let me hand you over to Bryce, who will walk us through vibe coding. Over to you, Bryce.
Well, thanks a lot, Charles, and I'm happy to be here and excited to get to show off some vibe coding, which I am not an expert in. I'm not a professional software developer, but that's the beauty of vibe coding is that you don't have to be a professional vibe coder, a professional developer, a coder. You don't know how to write Python or anything like that, and that's really what makes this so revolutionary. And so, I don't know, maybe, a year ago, folks in the AI industry started talking about this concept of vibe coding. And there was a guy named Andrej Karpathy who worked he was a Tesla, one of the early guys that helped build full self-driving. And basically, this idea is that the AI has gotten so good that, it's learned from all these lines of code that it's been trained on, that it can actually write the code and create programs, applications, websites simply from natural language prompts, just like you would talk to ChatGPT or Gemini. The AIs can also build software in the same manner. And so that's really all you have to do. If you have an idea in your head and can write semi-competently, you can instruct an AI on how to make an app. So it's really amazing. So, anyways, I don't know. A few months after that, we started doing it here at 10,000 Days Capital, and we made a few apps. I started out making a little video game or something like that just to see how it worked. And pretty quickly, we realized that, oh, like, this is actually an amazing tool for our business. We can, there's lots of things that we could use internally. We have a subscription newsletter business. We have apps that we could build for that. And so our minds started racing. So probably over the last year, we've built 50 different app prototypes, and maybe six or seven of those we use regularly. Um, and so today we're just going to show you a couple examples of how you vibe code, how easy it is, how much fun it is, frankly. And then we have a couple of finished products that we've built that we'll show you just to kind of give you an idea that this isn't just fun and games and like this little trick that you can do, but it's actually a real productivity tool. Um, so I will share my screen and so that you guys see what these things look like. So what I have here is Google AI Studio. And there's several of these vibe coding applications that you can use. We're going to use Google Studio AI Studio today for a couple reasons. It's the fastest. It has, it can iterate really quickly, so it will do us good on a call like this. But there's a lot of services. We actually use a service called Replit. It's a private company, and that one is really made for like end-to-end software development. It can integrate with databases, Salesforce. It will actually publish the website for you, like on a cloud service that they're actually they're users of Google Cloud. But Replit is a lot slower, and so it wouldn't work well for a demo. So, anyways, we're going to use Google AI Studio. And you can see the URL here is just aistudio@google.com. And if you've used ChatGPT or Gemini before, this probably looks familiar to you. It's just a chat box, right? And you talk to it just like you would talk to any other chat bot. Um, what's funny, I think, what Google did here, if you've been a user of Google at all in the last 20 or 30 years, you probably have seen the I'm feeling lucky button before, which if you're on Google search, it takes you to a random website that, you roll the dice. And so they built that into AI Studio. So for one of the demonstrations today, we're going to use the I'm feeling lucky button, and it's basically going to suggest an app, and we'll find an app that looks somewhat interesting and try to build it. So this is a live demo, and so you don't know what we're gonna get here. This is an AI powered meme generator. The core actually that looks sort of funny. The core feature is a magic caption button. When clicked, AI analyzes the image and suggests five running, funny, relevant captions that the user can click on instantly. What do you think, Charlie?
Let's build it.
All right. So that's that. Yesterday, when we were playing around with this, we actually went through a few ideas before we picked one, but we're going with the first one. This is authentic, folks. We're not messing around. Okay, we did not plan this, so we have no idea what this is going to look like, or if it's even going to work. But the part of the beauty of vibe coding and the reason that's the name of what this is called is not because like you give AI one prompt and it works perfectly every time. That's not really. I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes it surprises you. But the reason it's so amazing is that you, as a human working with the AI, you sort of vibe together, and it gives you an idea. It gives you an app. You're like, okay, let's change this. Let's change the colors. Let's add this feature. Oh, I just thought of this other thing I would also like to tie into it, some other software. And so really you vibe with the AI. And so that's sort of where the name comes from. And that's sort of the beauty of it. It's very creative. It kind of gets the creative juices going. And it's not perfect every time, but it is a lot of fun. It's sort of like painting a picture or something. You can click in here. You can see it's working. It's building all of these different files. If you are a coder, you know what all this means. Um, but it's interesting to look sort of within under the hood here, and you can kind of see how it's doing all this. It understood that we want a meme generator. It's going to integrate with Gemini's API, which obviously that's the AI service from Google. So it can pretty easily do that without me having to upload API keys or something like that if you know what those are. So here we go. We have an app. In how long did that take? 90 seconds or something? 98 seconds. Let's see. So create your meme, upload an image, or start with a popular template. Um, this is sort of a funny one. Magic caption. We're trying this live. So obviously, one of the other things that's really interesting and has big investment implications for us is that all of these AI apps that people are making with vibe coding, almost all of them integrate AI services themselves. And so that's led to this huge explosion of token usage that Google and Microsoft and the other hyperscalers have been talking about. Because it gets to be a virtuous cycle. This flywheel, the AI gets better, so it makes better apps. Those apps themselves have AI features built into them, just like this app has Gemini built into it. And so they just constantly gets better. It leads to an explosion of token demand, which is the processing that takes the NVIDIA GPUs or Google TPUs and things. Um, I like it. One does not simply learn to code in a weekend. Relevant, unless you're vibe
Yeah.
coding, then you don't even have to learn to code, right? So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of simple and silly. Um, but like here, even at the bottom, you can see you can add functionality. You can change it. So like that's just sort of the beauty of how this works. So like, let's say I don't like the color scheme. Let's make it. I can spell. Um, let's make it red and black, and also integrate quick sharing for social media, email, etc. So that's let's let that run a little bit. And another beautiful thing about vibe coding is that like you can have 10 of these going at the same time. And it really kind of gives you a glimpse into what the future of work is going to be like, in my opinion, because you as a human don't have to sit there and watch this thing work, right? You're not actually typing out all this code. You have an idea, go into AI Studio, drop the idea in, let it go to work, and you as the human, you go back to doing your day job, right? We this is not what I do for a living, but it is like, there's apps that I built basically in my spare time that turned out to be incredibly useful for the hedge fund. So I'm just going to show you another idea, something funny, something that I might use in my real life. I'm a team roper. I do rodeo here in New Mexico and West Texas, Arizona, and I'm going to Las Vegas in a couple weeks. So I've always thought it would be cool to have an app. It's very rodeoing is very old school. You carry cash, you walk up to the announcer stand, you fill out a card with you and your partner's name on it, hand them the cash. It's very 19th century, 20th century. So I think we need to bring rodeo into the 21st century. And so I think I've always thought we should have an app that is like integrated with Venmo. It shows all the events, so I can pay, find partners, find events to go to. And so that's what basically this prompt is. I prepared this already. So this is like a real app that I might use as a hobby, or, try to build it and sell it to the organizations that put on rodeos. So um, basically, I've asked for some functionality here. It's not going to be able to do all of this, but we'll give it a go and see how that turns out.
And how do you come up with the prompts? Do you use another LLM to make the prompt, or?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question. So, like in this case, I basically described the idea to like ChatGPT, I think is what I actually used for this. And I had it come up with a prompt because sometimes that will actually like dramatically improve the app is if you have the describe your idea, the initial idea to a chatbot, and have it come up with the prompt for the app, because it will like help structure it, give the app builder some kind of the basic structure before it just goes off on its own and tries to build it. So let's come back to our meme generator and see how this worked. So it changed the colors. We're now red and black instead of like blue or whatever it was. So let's see if it's not working. So this is vibe coding, folks. So say we're getting an error. Um, you can just literally screenshot the error. It's getting a 403 error. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to say fix it. Uh, One of the cool things about vibe coding is that in many cases, the AI in its initial go round will make an error, and almost like probably 90% of the time, which it didn't do it in this case, it will catch the error on its own and fix it, which is really cool when you see that happen in real time. And one other thing I want to show here too, like I missed it too late, is when it's actually writing the code, it's sort of magical because it's made 10 different files here. This is all code that the AI wrote, right? And we're looking at hundreds, 200 lines of code that the AI made. If you were back in the 90s or early 2000s or something, somebody would be sitting there handwriting all this, and the AI did it in 90 seconds, right? So let's go back to preview. Let's see if it'll work. I don't know what it's doing.
Is it just loading?
I'm not sure. Somehow we messed it up, folks. I blame Charlie. Let's
Yeah.
look at the rodeo app. So, um, here we go. So this is Ranch League. Um, that's funny. Trevor Brazil is actually like one of the world famous best team ropers of all time. All these are real people right here, not John Doe and Jane Smith. The first four guys are actually real. That's really funny. So, yeah. So I asked it, like, so we can let's try to enter myself. I'm a five. I'm a header. Add to roster. Okay, cool. Um, generate the draw. I drew Jade Corkill. That's a phenomenal run. I would be very excited to draw Jade Corkill in real life. He's one of the world champions. It'd be like drawing Tiger Woods in an event. So yeah, I don't know what it shows the pod. It shows here's some, it'll take some work to get these integrated with Venmo and or stable coins. I like that. That's cool. Let's see the feed here, again, this is the first go around, right? This is like I gave it a prompt and it made all this stuff. And it's like, let's say I'm looking for a healer in the number 12 in Las Vegas. I don't know what this does. Oh, it's just a post. So it's just a social media post, right? So that's kind of like that's sort of the idea. Like you just sit here and same thing, you vibe with it. You're like, let's add some AI features. Oh, this is one cool thing I meant to mention is that with Google, they have all these pre-built AI features and other things that tie into the Google ecosystem. So like you can integrate with Google Search, you can use Google Maps data. That would be cool. Let's try that. So let's say use Google Maps and show the location of the events on the roster.
And do you need a Gemini subscription in order to use this, or can anyone come onto this
Yes,
website
you
and
need.
and start building
No, you
an
do
app?
need. Yeah, you can do some basic stuff on Google AI Studio without a subscription. It's sort of all of these AIs are the same way. They allow like a certain amount of free usage just to try to get users into the funnel. But pretty quickly, if you do this, if you actually try to make a real app and spend a day, doing this vibe coding, you're going to have to end up paying for a Gemini subscription.
Whilst
So,
this is loading, should we have a look at one of the websites that you've built, like, and spent days building?
yeah, fantastic. So this is the first one. This is actually a live website here. This is revolutioninvesting.ai. You could go there on your own browser right now. We bought this domain and I built this entire website, probably a couple days worth of work, vibe coding. But basically, our idea, Cody's idea, really was that we should, we've been making all these AI tools, and some of them are just funny for demonstration purposes and things, but some of them are useful for investors. So we were like, let's make a website where we can share some of the tools we've made that might be useful for, random retail investors or somebody that wants to learn about our approach, which we call Revolution Investing. So I made this website, and then, I started off just like here's some of the tools, right? We put like four of them on here. Like the ultimate Google model was actually a model I built for an investment conference at Vail, pitching Google when it was like $160 a share. It's at like 285 now. Just gonna this is shameless self promotion while we're on the call. Uh, the like anyways, yeah, this is like an app, an AI app within an app, and we're within an AI built website. Let it load here. So this is the model. Basically I showed, hey, I think Google is the premise was that Google is the only full stack AI company. They make everything from their own chips. They run their own data centers. They build their own models, and they distribute their own apps, to billions of people across the world. So you can like click into one of these and learn more about, let's say, a Google Cloud Platform. There's a link to a YouTube video to teach you about that thing, and then you can ask the AI questions, and it will give you answers in Cody's voice. And so, anyways, that was kind of the premise for the website. And then I was like, you know what, we can add a lot more to this. So I said, how about we build just an AI chatbot right within the website that answers questions as if it was Cody Willard, and it uses our Revolution investing approach. So, Charlie, what stock would you like to know about today?
So we start with something that is so one of the portfolio
Sure.
holdings. Should we go with
You,
Twilio?
sure, yeah. You can ask about anything. It doesn't have to be a stock that we own.
I'll
What's
pick
that
I'll
say?
pick one that's not in the portfolio afterwards.
Okay. Does Twilio fit within the Revolution investing approach? And again, this is we use Gemini's API, so this is Google powering this on the back end. And then I gave it some of our books and writings and things, so it kind of had some context to answer these questions, not without just going off what's on the internet. So let's analyze Twilio through the lens of Cody Willard's Revolution framework. We need to identify the revolution. Twilio is primarily involved in cloud communications, providing APIs that allow developers to integrate communication features in their applications. Solid looks good. Is it a leader? Um, consider risk management. Let's see, based on these principles, let's see. Twilio is simply riding the wave of cloud. I give that answer. I give that answer a 6 out of 10. It's sort of
What would you have
hedged.
changed?
I don't like that it just was like you should do your own diligence and apply the principles rigorously. I wanted the AI to do that for me. That's why I asked the AI the question, right?
No, exactly. Should we
Let's
try
look,
with Microsoft this time?
give it one more go. Come on, Gemini. Don't let us down.
It's very quick though.
Yeah. I actually think this is using an older Gemini model too. Now that I remember this, I think it's Gemini Flash. So it's really fast, but it's not the smartest model in the world. So let's analyze Microsoft. Like here, see, it did a good job here. It's actually doing some analysis. AI. Microsoft's heavily invested in AI with its Azure AI platform, cloud computing, software 2.0, which is a lot of what we're talking about today, generating code and software with AI. Let's see, risk management, yada, 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 avoid the losers, Microsoft's dominant player. So what's the end verdict? Ultimate revolutions. Microsoft appears to be a strong contender. Fair enough. Cody, if he were here, would say, hey, Microsoft, it is not a strong contender. We should not own that stock.
I think we just need to feed it a bit more data.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is not like our day job and this is like some critical piece of our workflow or something like that. But
How
you
often
know,
do you, sorry,
go
how
ahead.
often do you edit the edit or update the website?
I don't think I've retrained that AI assistant since I built it, and that's probably been 6 months or something like that. So it's
Well,
it's
yeah.
due for an upgrade, and that's one of the things we want to say on this call is that the rate of change with the AI itself, with the vibe coding tools, we talk a lot about an accelerating exponential rate, and that is what's happening. That 2 years ago, you could barely talk to ChatGPT, and maybe it would write a poem for you, and now you're building fully functioning websites, and even in the last 2 3 months, like Google added all those features where you can integrate. Excuse me, you can integrate with Google Maps, you can integrate with Google Search, all these other things. So, yeah, it's definitely due for an upgrade because technology is changing fast, folks. The I integrated with YouTube. We publish YouTube videos all the time, so this is our call for Monday. I integrated, put some info about the team on here. Showed our tied it to the Trading with Cody newsletter. So yeah, I just it's just sort of a cool website I built like on a weekend.
It's pretty incredible.
Another one here, we just wanted to show we built a website for the US Tech Fund, VIP fund. And this one is behind not a paywall, but it's a restricted access. But I think you talk to the team at Freedom and they can get you access to this. But basically, it's just the fact sheet and the prospectus and all that for the fund, and we turned it into an interactive website where potential investors can go look at the fund and learn about it. It sort of kind of gives you an idea. But one of the cool things we did throw in here, another AI tool, was that Google's Notebook LM service can actually generate videos. And so this has a 5 minute overview video that was completely created by AI, which explains what the fund is, what the strategy is. I'll just play like a few seconds of it, but it's pretty amazing.
Ever wonder how those specialized investment funds, the ones you hear about, actually go out and hunt for the next big thing, the next Apple or Google? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of them, the US Technology VIP Fund. We're going
So it's pretty. I didn't prompt that video. I didn't tell it to say any of that. I pasted a bunch, or I uploaded a bunch of documents for the fund, and it made that video. And it's pretty amazing. It's worth watching.
No, it's pretty
So,
incredible. Should we check out what the Rodeo app is doing? So I
yes.
realized we let that load for a while.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's asking me if you can see this. It's asking me to allow location permission. I'm gonna say allow. Let's see how this works. Live scoreboard feed, event. I don't see the Google Maps thing. Oh, venue or address. Oh, I see. So it's just okay, yeah. Let's do Will Rogers. Let's do Thomas and Mack Center, Las Vegas. There you go. There's the address. So I think it would be cool. Like if I was going to keep doing this with you guys, which I'm not going to spend that time, but I would want to actually add the map here so it would show me the location on the map. Um, oh, that's just going to take me to Google Maps. I guess that works. There you go.
And that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Could we go back to the Revolution Investing
Sure.
page? I saw one of the titles was philosophy. Could we
Oh,
go
sure.
through that?
Yeah, it's good to hit on that, Charlie. And we just want to put this on here so if somebody stumbled across the website, they kind of learn what we do. Um, and we've, for those of you on this call that we've met, you've probably heard this say this 100 times already, but we really are investing in revolutions, and those are the things that are changing the world. It's not just innovative, it's not disruptive, but it's really the paradigm shifts. And that's what this says here. I mean, we're looking for those great technological revolutions that bring multi-billion or multi-trillion-dollar wealth creation. We're just trying to get our investment buckets in front of those. I love this quote here. We often talk about the Kurzweilian rate of change, and that's after the author Ray Kurzweil. He wrote "The Singularity is Near." But this quote he references this professor Albert Allen Bartlett. The greatest shortcoming of the human race is our inability to understand exponential growth. And when you see vibe coding in action, and that's why it's so important for us to actually get in the weeds with technology as investors and learn how they work and see how they change, because that's the only way you can really get a grasp on that exponential rate of change. If you're not using it every day and if you're not experimenting with it, that's humans tend to think linearly. And so it's really eye-opening. We've built some incredible apps that I use every day as part of running our hedge fund and our tech fund long only version. And like people around the world are building entire businesses now with vibe coding. There's guys, I watched a video of some guys in San Francisco the other day, and it was like 3 people at their company, and they'd raised like $100 million or something like that, or maybe there's 6 people. But I mean, yeah, all using vibe coding to build some app. I don't remember what it was. But like this is a real wealth creator, and the fact that Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all these companies are saying now that AI is drafting 30, 40, 50% of the code that they use. And that's remarkable. I mean, that's a huge cost savings for the hyperscalers, not to mention they're getting a lot more revenue too from selling AI services on their clouds. So that's what we're looking for. That's why vibe coding is important for us as investors and why we're trying to learn so much about it. I'm happy I got to show it to you folks today.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Bryce. That was a great presentation. I think we'll move to the Q&A part of the session now. So if anyone has got a question, please just pop it in the Q&A box, and we'll get to it as quickly as possible. So I think we'll start with the first question. We touched on Google. Are there any other positions in the portfolio that will benefit from the vibe coding revolution?
Yeah, absolutely. Google, just real quickly, it is not only that service, like paying for the Gemini subscription is one thing, but the real driver of revenue here is that people are building applications. So I think the head of vibe coding at Google said they're up to like 500,000 apps per day are being built on the Gemini platform. And so with the real kicker for Google is that you're building all millions of applications in the course of a year or something like that. And a lot of those applications, or some of those applications, are going to turn out to be fantastic businesses. There's going to be Robinhoods and Spotify's and Ubers of the AI age that are built on AI platforms like Google, and that's really the reason they're offering that AI Studio, that service for free. A $20 a month Gemini subscription, you can build a whole functioning app. It's really amazing. Other than Google, we have the other hyperscalers. Amazon is the main one, and then Twilio is kind of a name that probably a lot of people aren't familiar with, but they that was one that we searched earlier. But they provide they're kind of the API kings for communication services. So if you've ever logged into a website and received a dual factor authentication text message or something like that, or your phone call, that's all powered by Twilio. They're basically the de facto standard globally. And so the thesis there is that pretty much every app nowadays needs some kind of communications infrastructure, whether it's two-factor authentication, voice AI calls. Like there's a lot of integration with the telecom universe and software, and so Twilio sort of bridges that gap. And so as the amount of apps that are created explodes because the cost has gone down by orders of magnitude with vibe coding, Twilio is really well positioned. It's a usage-based or consumption-based pricing model. And so even this last quarter, they said enterprises are already starting to, increase the amount of apps they're building, and that's really their bread and butter. And so as the amount of enterprise applications go up, it's a direct correlation for Twilio's revenue, and we saw that this last quarter.
Fantastic. So we got a couple of questions that have come in now. So the first one is, so what is the equivalent, so I presume to the Google AI Studio by ChatGPT/Perplexity?
So Chat is a little bit different. They have Codex, which is a sort of a vibe coding software. It's more of like if you need to be a developer to use Codex. It builds into your IDE, your independent developer environment, and so it's not something like a person like me that's not a programmer would use. On the other hand, Microsoft Copilot is built. Their GitHub Copilot product is built on ChatGPT. And GitHub Copilot recently, probably in the last month or so, launched a vibe coding interface where you can do what I was just doing on Google's AI Studio. But Microsoft was actually really late to the game on that. Not surprisingly.
Perfect.
And I don't think, as far as I know, Perplexity doesn't have a vibe coding service.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And so the next question is, can the AI build an API to integrate with a public website or public database?
Yeah, I've never actually done that, but I would say yes, it can absolutely integrate other APIs into your website that you're building, which we do. We even did that with the Gemini, right? It found the Gemini API, went and looked at the documentation, integrated it into the app we built. But yeah, I absolutely think the AI would be capable of writing, the API documentation so that other websites could integrate with your app.
Fantastic. And then, so we've got another question here. So, this person is saying that building the front end is easy, but what about hosting/transitioning into the real world use?
Yeah, it's actually remarkably easy, and that's been one of the big changes in the last 2 or 3 months, really, is that with Google, that was one of the features we didn't show. I could show you right here. I will do this real quickly because it is a great question. So Google, once you've made the app and you're excited, can you see it, Charlie?
Yep, yep.
So once you've actually made the app and you're happy with it, you can come up here, this button right here, the little rocket ship says deploy, and you can deploy this to a Google Cloud Run, and you just pick one of the cloud projects. I'm not sure why I have a bunch of cloud projects. I'm not sure why they're not showing here. So it's actually remarkably easy to set up your backend, which is how you host the website, create a public URL so that other people can access it. Replit, the other app I mentioned earlier, actually does a really good job. They will integrate with databases, Stripe for payment services. It's really an end-to-end app builder made for people like me that don't have the technical, wherewithal to go and do all this back-end database, all that kind of stuff that I don't want to spend time doing. So that is one of the big changes that these apps have gotten really, really good at setting up the back end and making truly functioning websites and applications.
Fantastic. And then, so what do you think the next big step for vibe coding is? What's the next big leap?
Sure. So I think the agentic part of it is going to be really big. And that's really where you hand off your idea to an agentic coder and it just keeps iterating repeatedly, right? And so the amount of time that the Google AI will work on one prompt is somewhat limited. You see it only work for about 90 seconds. On Replit and some of these other platforms now, the AI can work for hours. And as we get more compute online, NVIDIA GPUs and the like, that time frame is going to stretch to days and weeks. And so you can give an AI like a big picture for an app or a piece of software and just turn it loose. And it's just going to build the app, structure it. And then one of the big changes recently is they can now test their own apps, the AIs can, and see if it works. And if it's not working, fix it. And so that's kind of like the future where literally you turn an AI loose for 2 or 3 weeks, just like you would a team of software developers, and you check back in and they hand you truly a fully functioning website.
That sounds pretty exciting. And I suppose final question for now, because we've massively run over time. But do you think there are any business models at risk because of this vibe coding revolution?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of small and mid-cap software companies look to be at risk, especially if they have really bloated cost structures, which many of them do. They have a lot of SG&A, salespeople, a lot of extra developers that they probably don't need. And if you're just building like a one-off application that your customers can now build themselves for a fraction of the cost, I don't know that those businesses necessarily go away because a lot of their customers are locked in, but there's probably not that much growth for some of those small and mid-cap software companies. And so it's really, I think, the software platforms like Salesforce that have the potential to grow as apps are built on top of Salesforce. But if you're just a discrete, point solution, especially if you're smaller, I think you're at risk of stagnating here. So I think you have to be very selective with those stocks.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Bryce. That was incredibly insightful. And I think we're going to end the session here. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and have a great evening.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Charlie.